Hi everybody, it's Kit again. I'm back with one more Halloween treat. Plus I wanted to show you something too. Those of you that follow my videos, this was the modified gatefold, and I wanted to show you what it looked like. This was the pumpkin one that I did to show you how to do it. I put the spine on it, and I thought, you know, I didn't really explain to you where to score on the spine. So these, you cut that long piece into two by four pieces. And then you put it in your scoreboard with the 2-inch side up, and you score at 1.875 and, no wait a minute, I'm sorry, at 0.875 and 1 1/8. You want a 1/4 inch spine in there. And you do that to both pieces, and then you just tape here and tape here. Don't tape on your spine area. And in the process, this is another little closure idea where I just wrapped the thread, since you're covering up your bows that were on each spine area. I undid those, and I pulled it around and just created a little closure on the front, because I got to thinking that once you start stacking a lot of pictures in this, it might start to bow up a little bit. Just trying to think ahead somewhat. And you can do this with ribbon. I just did it with the pearl cotton embroidery thread that I was working with. And you can just put a little closure on the front here. So as you fill it with photos, if it does start to bow somewhat, then you do have a closure on it. So there you go. I just wanted to show that to you real quick for those of you that did make that. This shows the same one going ahead and using the excess pieces for the spine, and just another way to put a closure on it. So there you go. Now the next thing I'm going to show you are spoolies, because fall always makes me think of spoolies. And what is a spoolie, you ask? Well, this is a spool, and this is a spoolie. Isn't that cute? And these are just making little paper spools and decorating them for the season. I make these in the fall, usually Halloween, Thanksgiving, and I have done some Christmas ones in the past. Now mine are a little wonky because I sat on them. If you've been following along, you know we recently moved, and I'd thrown these in the front seat of the car and went back in the house and then came back out and sat on them. So rule number 1, don't sit on your spoolies because they will dent up. So my tree's getting a little wobbly here. This is just that Tim Holtz die cut. I put 2 of them back to back and just glued some bats in there. And this is, remember me telling you about getting the thread off your sewing bobbin and how it all winds up and twirls around, so it kind of looks like either spider webs or fog. So I just put some glue down and put some threads down on that. Put some little bat punch outs on the smaller spools, and then I just did a border punch all the way around here and glued it on to the top. So these are spoolies. These are spools, and these are spoolies. And I'm going to show you how to make them today so you can see what they look like before Kit sets on them. The little one didn't do too bad, but the big ones got kind of wonky. So anyway, let's give it a try here. And I got smart over the years. I used to use a 3-inch punch, and it took me forever to get a full circle out of a 12-inch piece of paper because you had to be so careful. Well, I found a 2.8-inch punch from Fiskars. I think it's Fiskars. Yeah, it's Fiskars. That will give me a little bit of breathing room. And you know how I love this spider paper. This Stampin' Up! Paper, Halloween paper from, I think it's last year. I don't know if they still have it this year. Let me look, because that was the cutest paper. And they're always retiring things I like. I don't know what that's about. They don't check with me first for some reason. Let me see. Do they have Halloween paper? I have one catalog left. I got to order some more. You can always look online at these catalogs too, just by going to the Stampin' Up! Website. There's a button you can click on my blog that will take you there. And if you have an iPad, you can actually download, well, I guess you could on any computer. You can download the catalog so you can just look at it at your convenience. Because otherwise, they cost $8. And I don't see any Halloween paper. So, it must have been discontinued. Let's see, there's Christmas. There's the kits. Is this making you dizzy looking at this upside down? It would me. There's all the fabric. They got really neat fabric now. A lot of it matches the paper. This was last year's Halloween paper. It doesn't look like they brought it back again this year. So, anyway, any questions about that, about Stampin' Up!, just shoot me an email. And I can do some more research for you. But this is the spider paper, and I think, and then the other side's polka dots. I think this will make really cute spoolies. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut off, hello, oh my gosh, moving stories, everything is going on here. Our computers wouldn't work. I'm not going to mention any names, but our cable carrier screwed up, and we didn't have internet for about a week. So it's just been one thing after another. But anyway, stop whining, Kit, and get busy. Okay, here we go. First thing we're going to do is cut off a 4-inch section of our 12 by 12. This is another, from one sheet of 12 by 12, you should be able to get 2 large and 2 small spools. We'll see if that works out right. Because usually I make them out of scraps. So this is going to be the first time I've done it out of one sheet of paper. So we're going to cut a 4 by 12 inch strip. And then we're going to cut that in half. So we've got, I'm going to cut it at 6 inches. So now we have 2 4 by 6s. And these are going to be the columns of our large spools. The next cut we're going to make is 2-inch cut. 2 by 12. Do I really want to do that? Let's not cut yet. Here's where it can get sticky on you, I've discovered. Let's punch our circles first. So let's get our 2.8 inch punch. You can try it with a 3-inch punch, and I'm going to punch 4 all the way across. One. Let me take them out so I can still see. Hopefully this will give me more breathing room than the 3-inch circle punch did. But I like nice big bases. You don't have to go 3 inches on them. You could go down a little smaller and make your tubes a little smaller. These are just the sizes I like. You can adjust them once you see how to put them together. Then you can make any size you want. You can make little tiny ones, which would be cute. Maybe to use in mini albums. Oh yeah, I think I got much more breathing room on here. Woohoo! 2.8 circle punch. Does wonders. There we go. We got 4, although it's not cutting a real sharp edge. What's that about? Okay, now we're going to come in here. Here's where we get, trying try to utilize our paper. I have a 1 1/4 inch punch. I like to use the 1 1/4 on the little spools. But again, if you only have a 1 inch punch, you could do a 1 inch and just tighten up your cylinders so they're not quite as big around. I just like this myself. So we're going to come up in between where we punch those bigger circles. Punch some smaller ones. Again, this is just getting as much as we can out of one sheet of 12 by 12. And trying to get round circles without any little flat edges. Oh, excuse me. Here we go again. No, I don't want to do that yet. Okay, now I've got those. That's useless. We'll throw that away. Now I'm going to come back with my big one. And I'm going to butt that right into there. How many more of these do I need? I need 4. Okay. Throw away. If I can get that to fit in there. Trash. Trying to stay away from this edge as much as I can so I can get my cylinders cut out of there for my little one, my little spoolies. So those of you that work with circle punches know how to manipulate it around so you don't have any. You're getting a full circle out of your paper with no little flat spots. Useless, useless. I don't know if I'm going to get 4 across here. Maybe if I cut a little bit more of that off. Let's do this on camera. Doesn't allow me to curse. Sometimes I accomplish more. Doggone it! There we go. Am I going to get a circle? Yes! Okay, now I only need 1 more. Get out, get out, get out, get out. The trials and tribulations of live. Okay, you want to stay in there? I'll leave you in there. I'll show them. They'll probably give me a bad punch, though. Okay, 1 more big one. Ah, see. Ah, got it out. Okay. And the reason I want 8 is because I do these, I double up tops and bottoms just to give it a little bit more strength. Not enough strength to sit on it, mind you, but these circle punches, sometimes they're clean, sometimes they're not. But you know what? Don't worry about it because we can rough up the edges, and that's another thing too. If you don't get a whole full circle, you always have an opportunity just to rough up the edges and make it a little more primitive on the edges. So, or you can cover it like I did with a punch, a line punch. Okay, now hopefully what we can get out of here, off each of these ends, let's see if it worked. We need a 2x3. Yes. Off each end, we've got a full 2 inches. Yes! Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to cut 3 inches off of this end. Because I want to leave the middle intact so I can keep punching some more of the small spoolie holes. So 3 inches. Cut it off at 2. And I got my cylinder for my babies. For my baby spoolies. Going to do the same thing on the other end. 3 inches. I don't know if I'm in camera. I don't know if all this chaos is in camera. 3 inches by 2 inches. Okay, so we've got our cylinders. Now, out of this remainder center, I need 5 of these. So let's punch as many as we can off the top edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think we can get 5. Yes, it worked. 5. Okay, we're cooking. So I hope you followed along with me on that. So that will give you everything you need to make 2 big ones and 2 small ones. Now, we're going to set the circles aside because there's not much to do with those except poke a hole in the middle. And like these. I put them back to back and poke a hole in the center. And that's going to create your tops. Okay? Now what we have here are our cylinders. 2 large, 2 smalls. And these are the parts that need a little bit more work. So, we're going to take our scoreboard and we're going to put half-inch scores down each of the edges. On the large rectangles, put your 4-inch at the top, excuse me, score down a 1/2 inch on each side. Am I even in camera? Sorry. I forget somebody might be watching me. And then on the little ones, just do a 1/4 inch down each side. Put your 2-inch section at the top. I think, did I do 1/4? Maybe I did half on those too. Nope, did 1/4s. Okay, do 1/4s on the sides of your little ones. I didn't think you really needed a half. But, okay. And that's it. Scoreboard goes away. Now let's work with, I'll do 1 large and 1 small, just for the purpose of this video. Take your scissors, and this is good if you have got a dull pair of scissors. Because what we're going to do is we are going to work our paper. I want the spiders on the outside, I think. Let me look. Yeah, I think I want the polka dots on the outside. I put the spiders on the top. So whichever side you want out, I want you to take your scissors and just run it along your paper. Now be real careful. You don't want to cut it. You don't want to scrape your design off. That's why it's good if it's a dull pair of scissors. You don't want to cut your thumb. And all we're doing here is breaking up the grain of the paper a little bit. See how it naturally just kind of wants to go into a cylinder shape. That's the goal here. And just be careful. I will not be responsible for anybody that cuts their fingers, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. And on these taller ones, it's a little hard to do it backwards, and you don't have to do very much of it actually. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run our tape. And I would use score tape. I don't have any right now. I haven't unpacked it yet. The only tape I have is my ATG gun. So if you have score tape or red line tape, this is a great place to use it. All we're going to do is just tape this down in a cylinder shape like that. Oh, you know, one thing I forgot to do that I should have done. Let's see if it works anyway. Then in this score line, you're going to take your scissors, and this works best if you have a small pair of scissors, and snip every 1/4 of an inch or so. And I think you can see where we're going with this now. And then fold all these down, which I actually should have scored that or folded that score line before we did this. I really should do trial runs on these when I haven't done one in a while, you know. And that is what you're going to put glue on and set your circle down on, and it will hold it, okay, to make your spool. Let me get this other one and we'll do it right. First thing we're going to do is fold down the score line. Hello! Because we want that already prepped to go before we do the gluing and the clipping. Here we go. Let's burnish. Because this way they'll just fold over naturally. Let's go ahead and do the small one too. You can put the spiders on the outside on the small one. Put polka dots on the tops. Or you can make them all one color. You don't have to reverse it like I have been doing. Okay. Now that we've got the score lines in now, that's when I take the scissors, kind of break up the grain of the paper a little bit, being very careful. And this, you're not going to do it hard, you're just going to lightly go along there. And again, it just helps it roll easier, so you don't get cracks, crinkles, and wrinkles in your paper as you roll it up. It's nice paper too. Sometimes real heavy paper takes a while to really loosen it up. Little ones are really easy to do. And those of you that have made paper beads, this will be familiar to you probably. When you take your strip and just run it down your scissors and it starts to create a natural roll on it. Just makes it so much easier. Okay, Now we're going to take our tape. Now you know what? Let's clip. Go ahead and make your little clips. Do that too. Just easier now than later. Just clip up to that score line. Don't clip over the score line if you can help it. It'll give you a better looking edge. Okay, and let's clip on the big ones. See, this is another project you could make in no time at all that looks like it took a whole lot of work. The hardest part is punching it all out to make sure you can get enough pieces. But then again, that's because I'm trying to make it one of the 12 by 12 projects. Honestly, when I make these, I usually just pull out my scraps and go to town. And the reason we're clipping these is so that you'll get a smooth lay down on your circular edge. I think that's physics again. I'm not sure. Okay, let's run our tape. You want to put tape on the top edge so that your bottom edge will butt right over it. And somebody asked me, can't you use toilet paper rolls or paper towels? Yes, you can, but they're going to dictate the size. Like this one's pretty small. To really get this profile, you're going to have to find some really little piece of paper or little cylinder. And this one is actually bigger than a toilet paper roll. Might be about the same size as a paper towel roll, but then you got to cut it up and that kind of smashes the edges of it. So just attach this, lining up your edges the best that you can. But if they overlap a little bit, no sweat, because they're hidden. Yes, they are. Okay, there we go. Now, once again, I put glue on mine. Suppose you could try tape. Tape it before you roll it into cylinder if you don't have any glue. But I like to use the glue because it kind of keeps it better. It holds it better due to the fact that it becomes more one with the paper. Tape just kind of sets on the surface of paper. There we go. There's your big cylinder. Now here's the little one. And see, since you have already folded those score lines, this folds down so much easier. Just gives a nice finished edge to your spool. There we go. Here's the little one. Here's the mama one. Now, what I do on these, I want polka dots on the outside of this. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll just make them all one color. Because I really like that green with the spiders on it. That's really cute. What I do is I glue. I glue two together just to give it some oomph, some stability, so that it doesn't flop around. And then I ink my edges. I actually inked this one in purple. Inked my edges, and then what you're going to do is find the center basically and poke a hole. So that's sort of a, you can measure out and do all that. I know, I just eyeball it. Eyeball it and pray that I get it in the center. Okay, now take your glue. Don't know if I'm in camera. And dab it on your edges. And glue your little circles on. Try to get it centered to the best of your ability. Any glue squirts out of there, just clean it off. Gives you some time to work with it too when you use the glue. Just remember that's another reason I like to glue and not tape. Now all we have to do is follow the same process for the other one. And if you see that there's an area that's not gluing down, yeah, you knew what to do, didn't you? Just squirt some more glue in there. And then, if you've got too much, wipe it off. Now this may be a little too finicky for some of you, and I can appreciate that, but these are so much fun, and people just ooh and ah over them. They think they're so cute, especially when you use several and make little displays or I do like the edges inked better. Am I even in camera? I'm terrible. Because if your circles don't quite line up when you ink the edges, it'll go away. So I'm going to fix that one later. And let's do one of the big ones. Just we'll do opposites on this one. We'll do the spiders. Same process too. And I keep glue away from the center because that's where I'm going to poke the hole. Don't really need it on both sides. And if your circle punch is a little hokey, like this one is, and it's brand new, so I don't know. Just ink up the edge there. Rough up the edge and it'll be perfectly fine. I promise. I promise. You put ink on there, it'll look fine. Plus you might even want to rough up the edge even more with the, what's it called? The tool that you can run along the edge. You can always take a pair of scissors too. Rough up the edges. You can use your fingernail, but that drives me nuts sometimes. It's like scraping my finger on a blackboard. Punch a hole in the middle. I'll ink that one up later. Oh, I better give myself something to shoot for in this hole. Here we go. Try to get it in the center. Why are these not poking out? I think I need to clean out my big bite. Maybe it got dust on it from the move. Since I'm such a bad duster. And you're going to do the same thing. Put glue on your little flappy flaps. And I forgot I do pull the glue towards the center when I do this. Kind of helps from keeping it from oozing out the outer edges. Try to get it in the center. If you don't think your flaps are sticking, you can put a pencil down in there and punch them, but usually enough are going to catch that it will hold it tight. And it's best to let these dry for maybe an hour or so, and then you can come back in and check. And if you need to add more glue, add more glue. And you're going to do the same thing for this. Oh, the other thing too, I make sure all these are poked up before I set my spool cap down on them. So I hope that this all made sense and that you enjoyed that. And then to decorate it, again, just use your own ideas, decorate away to your heart's content. Glue some together to create a little sculpture, or leave them plain. And another thing I've done is I've wrapped lace around them. I have utilized these as spools, like you would do your wooden spools. I use my paper spools like I would wooden spools. So I hope you enjoyed it and it gave you a giggle. These are fun, and I can guarantee you that people go, "Oh, that's so cute. How did you do that?" And you can see it doesn't take much time at all to do it.